Well, we don't have to vote on that.
Octasia, will you just let me know when we're on?
Yep, I will do that.
Thank you.
And we should be good, Lori.
All right, it is 6:01 and I will call the meeting to order. If everyone would like to rise with pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Octasia, would you do roll call, please?
Yep, Patty Jo Forsberg,
Here.
Roxanne Kendall.
Here.
Cherie Ling,
Here.
Bruce Belargin.
Here.
Lori Belargin.
Here.
Katie Thermos.
Here.
Marge Belil.
Here.
District mission, together we engage, educate, and empower all learners, bridging their passions to pathways to create successful futures and positively contribute to our local and global communities. I will take a motion to approve the agenda. So moved. Was that Patty Jo? Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Roxanne. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Open forum. We have 3 people who would like to speak tonight. The board will receive such input without comment or take no action relative to any items brought forth. This is due to requirements regarding open meeting laws. We may direct the district administrator to consider such an item at an appropriate place on the agenda or a subsequent meeting. The board has set aside 20 minutes for this purpose. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And Kelly Gabrielson, would you like to begin?
Sure.
And would you state your address for the record, please?
1571 Oak Ridge Lane, Holton. I'm here to talk to you guys about what happened last week and with the agenda with the masks. I appreciate that you are considering making it optional, but the fact that when you added that second part in there and being able to revoke it at any point, to me, and I don't know how the other parents felt that were there, was a big middle finger to us. You are not listening. It is so frustrating. These poor kids are coming in here, tears in their face, and are stressed out. It stresses them out to wear a mask all day, honestly. And I don't understand why all you guys kind of seconded it. What was the purpose of that? I mean, what is your agenda? You say it's for safety. You say it to keep the kids safe. When there is a 99.97% rate that proves that they are going to be fine. They can get hurt on the way to school faster than they can get hurt or easier than getting sick. Do you understand? I don't understand. I don't understand what your purpose is with this. I really don't. These poor kids are coming in here with tears in their eyes, pleading to not wear them. So I had a conversation with my 11-year-old and asked her about it, and she's like, "Mom, I can't do it." At the end there, I was almost crying, and she's falling through the cracks. I have her in Sylvan right now, 4 hours a week of tutoring because these teachers are overworked, trying to manage both things and keep their masks on and don't touch your face, all this other crap, and she's getting overworked. She's getting overlooked. She's falling through the cracks. And she's one of those students that doesn't cause a lot of an issue, so it's very easy for her to be pushed aside. What is your agenda? Sincerely, what is it? We have the right to know. All right, well, you should know that my daughter, who is a nurse, works directly in the med-surg, works directly with these people that are very sick, was living with us all last year during the school year, and nor at any time did we kick her out, keep a mask on her face.
30 seconds.
Okay, or anything. She no longer lives with us, but if that was going on, and none of us got sick, we were all fine. My dad, who was on his deathbed, died last May, never said, "Don't come to our house." or anything. I don't want to see you because you could bring COVID to us. It is sad. It is sad what you're doing. I don't understand it. And you should be ashamed. You should all be ashamed of yourself for pushing this agenda on these poor kids.
Thank you. Alice Norwig, would you like to speak? Would you give your address for the record, please?
404 Francis Street. It's funny that I come after the mask issue because I don't know where else to address this other than the fact that considering putting my stepson in school here and after what I witnessed this week of a young child a young girl being told, get the F out of here, you N-word. And I witnessed it, and she took off on a three-wheeler before I could get to her. So I couldn't say, hey, I was coming to help you, like, whatever. These were middle school age children. 2 boys stuck around to be smart mouths and cuss at us, and one told us his dad shoots black guys. I tried to post about this on community pages. I was kicked off. I was deleted. I was threatened. I got asked, was your daughter driving legally? I'm like, it wasn't my daughter. Number one, I'm looking for her parents so they know what happened. And number two, it doesn't matter how she was driving. You don't have the right to say that word. But I want to know if my stepson goes to school here or he's driving his bike down the road, who's gonna, what if these parents are so mad that I brought this up that they kicked me off of their page, and they're just making fun of me all over their page. They're handing out my address to people because I happen to have exposed a couple of ranking member of the fire department, a member of the village board, and Boy Scouts leaders with some screenshots I had been saving for. I don't even know why I took them, but the racism in this town, how is it going to get addressed in school? Like if he gets bullied, who's going to help him with it? Are there teachers or social workers or, not just even trained in this, but any teachers of color? Anybody that's going to be able to say, I understand what you're going through and be able to address this issue? And because I don't even know where to turn, because I thought the community pages would have been a good place to start, and they were not. They were terrible. And they're telling everybody where my family lives. And those are my grandkids. All 8 of them go to this school. And they are Caucasian, so they don't have a problem. But what disheartened me, before they could delete my post, there was people in there saying they were pulling their kids out of school because of the racism. So I want to know if he goes to school here, what's going to stop that from happening to him? And that is my concern.
Thank you. Patty, Shocker?
No, I'm worried.
Oh, Mark?
If you want to call my office and we can talk,
Yeah.
and I'll walk you through some things, okay?
Well, if we weren't as uncomfortable as can be, we're really gonna get uncomfortable now. Because we're gonna talk about periods. So, did you know, when we're talking about equity, that 50% of our students are girls, and 100% of them are gonna have their period, and most of them don't have access? So, a group of us women in St. Croix County did a Power of the Pad fundraiser, and we went throughout St. Croix County, Hudson, Baldwin, New Richmond, and Somerset, and we collected sanitary products to have access, for girls to have access to them in the bathrooms. So they don't have to ask permission to take care of their bodily function, sometimes asking permission to a man who they don't know. I had 2 daughters, I have granddaughters, I am a woman who had children. Yes, it's very uncomfortable to do that. And if you don't have access to sanitary products, guess what? You don't go to school. So having access in the bathroom is where it needs to be. I have 3 boxes, huge boxes, from the fundraiser that was done at my happy place, thank you. And
Over
I
and over,
would-
let's do it.
And I would think that it would be important for all of us to support our girls, because it is the #1 reason that girls miss school. And by having access to sanitary products in our bathrooms, it is also the #1 reason that women are controlled. Yes, women that come into our schools, it could be our employees that are in a domestic violence situation that don't have access to sanitary products. So I would really like to end the period poverty issue, and here's some reading materials. Stop laughing, Mark.
You can hand those to Shannon.
We have 3 schools, and girls get their period at the early age of 10. So this should be accessible in all of our schools, in all of our buildings. Power of the pad.
We've already got more that was dropped off.
Thank you, Patty. All right, superintendent's report is next.
Thank you. How do you follow that? A few items here. Some of them I shot out a note over the weekend, but I asked Bob from the village to come in and just give a brief update on what's happening around us here. You know, you see a lot of action going on, but it's being phased over 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, so thanks, Mark, for inviting me, and thanks for taking the time, board. This should be hopefully good news, but we'll see. So I want to talk about the development around the school. I think there's some misinformation, misconceptions about what's happening. So Winesap development, that's a 338 housing unit that's going around the school. I think everybody's aware of the construction that's going on. That first phase is going to be 42 lots. Their subsequent phases are really going to consist of 40 lots. That's their gauge. So to get there, this probably is going to be a 10-year project, and that's all hinging on, you know, the market health of residential home building. Capstone Homes is the 4th biggest builder in Minnesota. They are the ones building the homes. Preferred Builders, aka Citywide, is the developer. They do own the land. And once the lots are finished, they'll transfer the lots to Capstone. They will be the exclusive builder in that development. Just want that to be clear, and there's no connection between Citywide and our Preferred and Capstone. They are completely separate entities, so I just really want to make that, because it's a rumor I've heard that many people have shared with me. There is a temporary easement that was agreed to, and that's just south of the high school. And what a temporary easement is basically saying we may encroach on your property. And the encroachment onto the property is going to be for the benefit of the school and benefit of the development. So what we have going on is a pretty substantial hill. It's directly behind that retaining wall. So there's a substantial hill, and the school property and the development butt up. So it's, the attempt there is to create some type of a gradual buffer, so there's not just a sheer ledge. And so there might be some encroachment to achieve that onto the school property, but again, there's not going to be anything detrimental or damaging done to the school property whatsoever. And this is a very common thing. We sign temporary easements with all homeowners when we're doing construction projects, because we don't know if we'll go outside the right of way or not. So I think that was one of the comments that some people had some concerns on. Mark was in on that conversation.
Are you talking stormwater? Sorry.
Nope.
you
Not-
talking
Not yet, so we're just talking about some topography, south of the school. So I'll,
So when you say a drop, it's not a drop of anything, it's just a big hill that you wanna,
they are excavating that hill right now, so they just
More
want,
behind the high school.
they just wanna bring
over
that
there where the
down.
retaining wall is.
So the kids don't climb up there and jump
yeah.
40 feet onto the road, essentially. So, it's just one of those things, like if you have a city lot and you're cutting your grass and your neighbors, and you know, well, if I go over a little bit, I'll cut all the grass, but if I don't, I'll leave a little strip of grass. So this is kind of the same method, but a little bit better. Stormwater. Stormwaters are all done through the DNR accordance, so they're the best management practices is what we call them in stormwater language. So there will be no conveyance of stormwater onto the school property whatsoever. The Phase 5 is asking for an easement. Phase 5 might come in 5 to 6 years. Phase 5 is asking for an easement through the school property north of the football field. And that's under design right now by the school's engineers, that's in the school's hands, to just see what that pipe size should be. But there's absolutely no formal agreement. That's all preliminary right now. And again, that's 5 or 6 years down the road. So that'll be a decision that the school board will have to make. If they want to entertain that, it's up to the school. They can say nope, and they can say yes. They can say yes free, we want something in exchange for that. It's perfectly and exclusively up to the school district for that negotiation. Go ahead, Katie.
So is phase 5 then another 40 units?
So it's just like all of the others basically.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So that's why, you know, a lot of the stuff, there was a question why the school board wasn't informed of these things is, this is a lot of preliminary things. Green space is another item that was brought up there. Offering more green space, there was some thought that the school was gonna be used for the green space area. That's not true at all. We did talk about a cooperative project, maybe somewhere down in the future about co-oping with the developer and the school for a recreation area that, you know, is it smart for that development to put a playground in for kids when there's playgrounds here? It's kind of an open campus, so those things are just conversation pieces that were talked about, but there's been absolutely no final say in any of that stuff. Trail network, so we're still working with the school on those connection points. So I think that's back in Market Johnson. And BKBM is your engineers. So essentially nothing adverse is gonna happen to this campus. You know, as long as I'm on that, in my position, I think I've established myself, you know, being on the school board for short of 15 years, that I'm a huge advocate for this district, the campus. So there would be nothing that I would ever do or recommend in a planning phase that would jeopardize any future development of the school and its buildings. So, any questions on that piece? Nothing? All right. You guys want to talk more, or am I going to shut up?
We miss hearing you talk.
Oh, okay. So just to talk a little bit about some other development that's underway. So Winesap, we're currently at 42 lots. River Hills 2, which is northeast of town, that's developed right now. That's got over 100 lots. Whispering Pines North, third phase is 25 lots. So we have about 170 lots right now this year that are actively being built on. The current Whispering Hills and River Hills, they're filling up pretty fast. So things are definitely underway for a lot of new houses. In planning concept, we have a 60-acre and a 75-acre parcel. So those will be additional 300 to 330 houses. Pre-planning, we have 130 and 160-acre parcel that home builders are interested in. Those will bring 700 to 800 lots. That might not be out for a little bit yet. The nice thing about that is we have some variety in home builders. So prior and currently was pretty much exclusively preferred builders. I've worked pretty hard on trying to pull different builders into the area, some well-known quality builders. The reception from them has been phenomenal. They're excited to come in here. So I'm looking for that variety, and I think we're gonna be able to achieve that. So commercial's been slow as slow could be. Retail's terrible. COVID's really shut things down, same as hospitality. We have some moving on a hotel, so that's good. Industrial's super active. The village just needs some additional land for the facilities that are being proposed. So our industrial park is completely full. And then we have a marketing plan going in for our TID 5, which is the interchange by the BP development. That's gonna be finished up, but that is gonna promote Somerset, promote our schools. Its intent is to bring in quality businesses with attractive jobs, and basically site selecting, so developers know and businesses know where Somerset is. We know where all these communities are, but people don't know where Somerset is, and that's the intent on this marketing plan. So downtown, seeing some action. So we have a concept plan with a builder now, and so the 2 lots that Benson Archie's was on. So hopeful that that becomes a reality here, and we have some nice additional retail downtown. So yeah, and Sheree would like that too. So I mean, essentially, I try going through that, and in respect to your time, I know you've had a lot of meetings and a lot of long meetings. So, got any questions? Yeah.
Sorry.
Katie's the only one with questions.
No,
As always.
I always have questions. So when you're talking about 700 or 800 lots, like how many years in the future? And are they all within the boundaries of the Somerset
No.
School District?
No, so one is not, the others are. Yep. So there's a big parcel south of the expressway that is recently annexed in to the village, and the other is in a neighboring jurisdiction that is easily annexed. So, and it's ripe for residential development. And the property owners have been looking for a home builder to buy their land for probably 5 years now. And it sounds like they're kind of getting very close. 10 years to answer your question, probably. And I talked to Mark too about, the school considering doing some master planning. And it's always good, especially talking about the storm pipe, that they're looking for an easement for, that'll directly benefit the school. The thing that would be kind of a disaster is that storm pipe is on top of your proposed building, and then the school's gonna relocate it. So to look at where your future buildings are going to be, and maybe even doing some preliminary work, so when it comes time to referenda time for a new building, that you're ready to go. It's never ever too early to plan, so, and I think there's a lot of benefit into looking at some master planning though, to see what a 200,000 square foot building is going to look like with the parking lot, and where your utilities are going to come from, and your traffic patterns, and just plan for those types of things. So just a suggestion, but I think you'll be rewarded in the end with that. So.
You were asking if all of these were within the village or within the school district?
School district.
Oh, yes, yep.
They're all within the school district,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, and I don't think there's anything you can do about this, but I remember from tremendous growth that we had in the past, that municipalities can charge an impact fee, but school districts can't.
Right. So that's why we're respectful of limiting so WINESAP complete development conversation was, let's limit this to 40, we like 80. Well, it'd be nice if you'd allow 40 So they did agree to 40. They like more. That gives the school time. And that's one of the things I'm fortunately I'm in tune with is we have a mass exodus of homes, and the school becomes integrated with children. It doesn't give you any time. And then it makes the school district look bad, like you haven't planned. Well, this hopefully will give you the opportunity to do that. Some slow growth, some smart growth.
But we
Yeah.
still have to pass a referendum.
Oh, sure. Yep. Maybe, unless you guys save a bunch of money. I know how that is too.
Did anybody else have any further questions for Bob?
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you so much for
Thanks.
coming
Thanks, Bob.
and
Thanks, Bob.
going
Thank
through
you.
all of this with us.
Anytime, happy to do it. So good to see y'all.
Bye.
Want to stick around for old time's sake?
No.
Well, he'll be watching. A little bit more on the construction front here. The projects that we've got going, that we came in 2 million under, we're using most of that this summer to finish up these buildings. And the projects are all coming along, fairly well. We've got a couple of delays in different areas. In the high school, we have, it's a rubber flooring that's going down that athletic wing, and we knew that was gonna be a delay anyway, so we knew that ahead of time. The only surprise was structural steel for the bleachers is gonna be about a week behind, so we're cautiously optimistic on that. We're not panicking or anything, because practices start and we wanna get, kids in there, but they'll be using the other gyms in the district until that gets set up. And possibly after maybe this next meeting we have, we'll take a little walk over there if we want to beforehand to see the gym. It's beautiful. It's all painted, the floor is done. It's really, really nice.
I'll go to that special session.
What's that?
I'll go to that special session.
Yeah, no. And again, all the projects we talked about on here within the high school, the carpeting, the rooms that we didn't get last year are there. The old district office over there is all being redone now. They're finishing painting that, and that's a nice, really nice area now. They should be digging out here on Wednesday, here in the pond, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday this week. They're starting here. The middle school is, again, almost all the areas. The art is all painted. The music and choir and band are all painted, new ceilings, new carpet. It's with this last bit of money we have, we'll be finishing off all the buildings, which leads me to another piece with the construction. We're going to plan open houses. We haven't had the community in to see these at the middle school and the high school. I mean, they're beautiful, and because of what happened, with the COVID last year, we haven't allowed people in. So we're planning homecoming week to have open house, to have the community in, and see what they're paying for.
Do you
So
have
construction.
dates on that?
What's that?
Do you have dates on that?
Well, I think that's gonna be that, I don't know if it's one of the last days of homecoming week, and which is September,
17th.
what is it?
Friday the 17th.
17th,
From
Thank you.
3:30 to 6:30.
okay. Any questions about construction there?
Yeah, I wanted to know about that rubberized floor in the athletic wing.
Mhm.
Is that as durable?
Yeah, it's, and I don't know the exact name of it, but they were very careful to spec out a piece that is very durable. And the problem is that hallway's used with all the training classes and what have you, that tile, they're slamming, breaking tile, and what have you. So this was highly recommended. It's a gym it's a gym floor surface, but it's a rubberized product. I just don't know the name of it.
And do you expect that everything will be completed prior to the start of school?
Well, the flooring won't. We knew that going in there. The flooring won't be in there, but it'll all be usable. It's just gonna be concrete on the floor. But I would say that if we don't have any holdups with any more holdups with the bleachers, we should be good to go at the start of school. It's a lot of curveballs happened, and Bruce knows this, with products and shipments and deliveries. It's everything from they can't find drivers to deliver, to shortages of different things that either on ships somewhere or what have you. We've been, knock on wood, Margaret Johnson's done a heck of a job of, if they can't get something, boom, they're onto another product and things like that. So right now, with our fingers crossed, the middle school, I don't think there's gonna be any issues at all there. The high school floor is that only one that we know is gonna be into the school year, a couple weeks or so.
So will they install that during, like on a weekend or something?
Probably, it'll be after hours, yeah.
Okay.
They won't do that during the day.
And if that's all the delays that we're having based on how things are, that's phenomenal. I mean, and just to go back to doing this work last year, we can't get roof insulation anywhere. They're out 8 months on lead times, and we re-roofed all our buildings. Mechanical units, everything's huge lead times. So, to have just a minimal structural steel and some flooring, that's pretty good.
Good.
So
Anything else on construction? Okay. Next I want to walk into is about Ryan and to talk just a little bit about kind of the current status of his working group and where they're at with with COVID and what have you.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. I don't have too many updates, thankfully. Everything's going pretty well in our district. I'll start off with how our district is doing right now. We haven't had a positive case since May 18th, so up until this point, 0 positive cases. We've had 0 close contacts identified since May 25th. So this has definitely made my job a lot easier this summer so far. I'm very appreciative of everybody working with us. And just keeping the status of where we're at right now. So as a whole, we're doing great, and hopefully we can keep the trend going and stay 0 all throughout. As far as vaccinations go, in our district, we're at 84% of staff vaccinated. And in the county, for individuals between 12 and 18, 201 individuals between 12 and 18 have been fully vaccinated at this point. Again, this doesn't necessarily reflect Somerset School District, it's just individuals in St. Croix County, or in Somerset, between that age, who have received the full vaccination dose. And then just county numbers for you guys, as far as cases go, we're averaging 3 cases a day over a 7-day period right now. So our numbers are, again, throughout looking pretty well. Out of everybody getting tested, only 8% are testing positive. So again, low numbers, great throughout the county, looking good for us. As far as vaccination goes, 50% of the county has been fully vaccinated, with about 2 to 3% still waiting to complete their full doses. Again, this all keeps us at the medium threshold level for the county and in the state. So again, we're sitting pretty well kind of throughout the county and throughout the state. For our work group meeting, so this work group meeting is between public health and then just school districts within St. Croix County. So it's between school nurses, superintendents. We all just get together once a week and just kind of discuss what's going on, how things will be brought up during the next school year. And so just kind of things that keep getting brought up each meeting. Of course, the Delta variant. There's been a few breakouts in Wisconsin in summer camps, but as far as St. Croix County goes, we haven't had any major breakouts. There have been cases of the Delta variant in the county, but again, no major breakouts that I've known of since last Wednesday. As far as vaccination goes for students or individuals between 2 and 11, the update we got was that we're looking towards late fall when that will be available for that age group, so age groups 2 to 11, looking at late fall. And then another topic that is heavily brought up is masking on school buses. CDC did order mandating face masks on public transportation, and school buses are considered public transportation. So again, that is a federal order, and we're just kind of discussing between the group how schools are going about that, how things are being enforced, kind of the ebbs and flows of what's going to be brought up with that kind of going into the school year and even right now. So those are just kind of the updates that we've been getting through our work group meeting, and then just kind of the numbers that we've had in our district and in the county so far. So that's kind of the update I have for you guys. Any questions for me about anything?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Very
Thanks,
helpful.
Ryan. So in this upcoming process that, the way I read last meeting, that this is gonna be put on my shoulders and the administrative team's shoulder to decide the path that we go on here. We basically have 5 different groups that we're gonna be working with in this process. You've got the parents and community, we've got the staff and students, we've got the middle border schools that we'll be working with. We've got the health agencies, CDC, DHS, DPI, and St. Croix County Health that all have to play well together, so to speak, or intersect on how we're gonna move forward. We're gonna be meeting, we're scheduling a parent/community meeting for August 10th over at the elementary school for a structured conversation on redoing our reopening book, that pamphlet that we had last year when we had all the people there. We had that done beforehand, then we reviewed it, and then we made changes. But we'll be working to redo that book. And what we're really looking for with all these groups, with the parents and community and staff and students, is kind of tolerance. What triggers what? And where do you feel safe, and what don't you feel safe with? Looking at what we did last year, what worked, what didn't work, what are we gonna recommend? So we'll have that information probably after that meeting on the 10th, a few days later, after we analyze all the data we can pull together from that. But again, it'll be structured conversations, and we'll have some good information from the community with that, and also from the staff members, so we can move forward. And part of this is DPI has directed us that every 6 months we have to revisit our staying open plan. That's what it's called now, is staying open plan. And again, from our experiences last year, from what we could play out a million what-if scenarios, but until we get farther down the road, we'll do the best we can to cover as many areas as we can. And again, we learned so much from last year that I think these will be good meetings, we'll get good input, and we'll bring it here and discuss it too. So that's the process we're on. And Ryan was right about the bus thing. I think a few weeks ago, most of the Middle Border Conference superintendents said, nah, no masks on buses, we're not gonna enforce anything. And I threw the question out to them, I said, I think that's a mandate from the CDC. And sure enough, well, the chain started again last week. Ooh, well, I think we better, so again, we're just, all these groups have to work together. We just have to get input from them and just make sure everyone gets a voice at the table. So that's.
If parents are interested in being a part of that, how would they go about doing that?
Just show up. We'll put a note out. We just had our administrative retreat last week, and we went through a lot of different things and scenarios for, opening up school this fall and different things. And this was kind of my thing here, is how we're gonna coordinate this effort, because if there's anything that could throw a wrench in our school year, it's this again, and we want to, again, I knock on wood, I can't believe, the job the staff did and everyone did last year to keep open. It wasn't smooth, but we did it, and we learned a lot. And so again, we just want everyone to have a voice at the table and see where we're at. That's my story.
Any questions for Mark about any of these topics? All right, then financial reports were attached late. I didn't have a chance to go through everything. I don't know if the rest of you did or not. They were just attached.
Is it just going to be one session, or is it going to be more? Because last year for the reopening, we just did one.
Well, and that'll, it depends. Like last year, we were gonna have one, see where everything went, and see how we went through the year. And we were ready to have more sessions, but it just worked out that the plan worked. And so we're always flexible to do whatever. I mean, there's no rules for this. It's just that we need to get that first meeting under our belt and see where we're at.
So there's another topic on there, which was middle school and high school open houses.
Well, that's what we talked about with the
17th.
on 3:30,
On the 10th.
homecoming for the high school.
Oh, so you were thinking about the open houses for the kids before school started?
No.
No? Okay.
No, but that's what we were gonna do for homecoming week. We're gonna have community info for open houses in the middle school and high school to see the work.
Okay, we don't have dates for middle school open house, or, sorry, conferences, that's what I'm thinking. Can we get those? Just
we
as
can
part of the
talk about-
calendar?
I think they're on the school calendar.
Are
aren't
they
they?
on the calendar?
I think they're on.
No,
the
I've got the calendar
No,
out.
I,
It says TBD.
Oh,
So if they're
no.
set, if we could get that out there.
No, I don't
Sorry, I
have
was
that.
thinking conferences.
No, okay, that's okay, that's
Yeah.
okay. That's it?
That it?
Yep.
So, did anybody have any questions about the financial reports? Yeah. All right, so if we do have questions, or if someone has questions, go ahead and email Dave. Learner connectedness, student handbooks. Would somebody care to make a motion?
Make a motion, recommend the school board approve student handbooks as presented.
Okay, motion by Bruce, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Marge. Any discussion on this item?
I was happy they just identified the changes again. It's been nice that we've been doing that.
All in favor then?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Coach advisor handbook. Would anybody make a motion on that, please?
Make a motion to recommend the school board approve coach advisor handbook as presented.
I'll second it. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Sheree. Any discussion on the coach advisor handbook? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Recommend the school board approve the live stream coordinator position as presented. We
Yes.
discussed this.
I will approve that one for sure.
All right, motion by Bruce. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Patty Jo. Any discussion on that position?
Again, thanks for putting that together, making it real and then
Job
giving us
description.
just
Is there a job
details.
description?
And Cody doing that if he's the one to keep doing it, so it's awesome that we're gonna do something for him.
Anything else? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The virtual school psychologist recommendation was not on the work session. I see Abby is here. Would you like to address this?
Sure. Yeah, it's on now because I literally held out to the last minute I could to hopefully get a real person, well, an in-district person. And it just, the candidate pool is so low, and not having some colleges being willing to work with us on some internship support, it just didn't pan out. So I've been talking with Jerry Walters from CISA all summer, just kind of holding tight, wondering how this could work. So this is a contract through CISA, and they work with a company, they kind of oversee the contract for us. I've talked to 3 other directors in 3 other districts who have used this. All have said really great things. I was really concerned about the load that it would then put on myself and on teachers, so I also talked to some special ed teachers in those districts. All of them have said that it isn't an increased load. It's like you're having a person, because you get a person that you really communicate with, and it's just done virtually. Everything that our psych has done in the special ed realm, eval, re-evals, they'll do. You know, the piece we're gonna miss is the data support and intervention, that'll just come to my desk, and I'm fully aware and prepared to do that. However, when I talked to directors, they said, yep, staying with them, but this site that we're, assigned really does help process through interventions as well. We just bring that information to them. We would meet, Google Meet weekly with each other anyways, he or she and I, and just process through everything that we have. So they get full access to our Infinite Campus, our EduClimber, our Oasis, so they're able to get all the data that they need just like that, just as an in-district site. So just for a year, hopefully,
So I see it's 3 days a week.
yeah.
So like on off days, do they still respond if needed, or do we then get charged more for those off days?
No, that was a question I asked too. They're available for support. We'll be conscious of the days that we're supposed to be communicating with them. And everything is on timelines anyways with World of Special Ed and Eval, so we'll just be on top of that, but they are available for support.
Any further questions? Would someone like to make a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Katie. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Sheree. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. The school board policy, the language was sent out to you, I don't know, seems like a long time ago. The blue language is the new language that was proposed by Marge. And there is a letter H in one of the lists that is highlighted in yellow and stricken, which would be removed. This is what we discussed at our last school board meeting. Would someone make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Thank you, Bruce. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Marge. Any discussion on this item?
I want it to be clear that I did not say that we are going to remask the kids. I said if the federal government mandates it, it will have to happen. So I wanted you to realize that that's what I said.
That's, can I speak?
No,
I can't speak.
this is a public
Okay, I'm
meeting
sorry.
of the school board. That's why we have.
I don't want it to be us against you.
Yep.
It should
Okay.
be all of us
Thank you.
together, yes.
Lori just commented, totally agree. But there may be some steps in between there, with our working groups.
Yes.
If the federal government hasn't said that yet, but the working groups that we put together in that opening plan say otherwise, we would probably be ahead of. It all depends. It's all subjective right now, and I would hate to say that we definitely have to wait for the federal government, because if we have outbreaks and things, I don't know if masking is gonna be the first thing, but there's gonna be different protocols that we're gonna jump into, so I would just hate to be limited by an outside.
And that's not the way it's worded.
No.
No.
My question is, we have immediate implement the wearing of face masks / coverings as required. So I want clarification of who would be requiring that.
The way
So-
it's written, it would be the district administrator in concurrence with the building principal or principals if it's more than one building.
And the group, the 5,
Right, that's going to bring the consensus basically to the table on how we're going to react, to these situations. And it's not, I'd be bringing it as information here so everyone knows what's going on. But I think with the input from all these different groups, we're gonna have a pretty good plan in place. And so and that's the whole purpose of it, is to find out where that tolerance is and where people feel safe and what have you, how we keep kids and staff safe.
And keep our doors open, so kids can learn in person. Any further?
I have a couple things.
Yep.
In paragraph 1 and down on the bottom, we're talking about elevated numbers, communicable disease, elevated community spread. I've been asked by several people to talk about how we're gonna quantify increases. So that's one thing I'd like to think about, and maybe that's something that's going to be established when we talk to all the community. But that's a big concern among people that are a little skeptical about us approving that second motion last week.
Just to comment on that, and that's, Ryan's position is extremely important in this whole operation, because he's gonna be working with the.
No pressure, though.
Yeah.
We walked out of that meeting last week, I said, young man, you're gonna be chained to my hip for the next 6 months. But he's gonna bring to the table, the guidance and expertise of all these outside of our district groups, And I'm gonna be working internally with, you know, our parents, the community, our staff, and establishing those tolerances. And so, like I say, they gotta mesh somewhere. The districts surrounding us that establish really hard, what's the word I'm looking for?
Set points.
Stance.
Matrix?
Matrix, thank you. They were changing it every week, thank you. They were changing it every week because this thing doesn't follow a linear path, it's all over. So, you know, we've gotta have a game plan, but we gotta remain flexible with it also. And that's where, you know, I think leaving it on my shoulders and the administrator's shoulders, we can react really quick to, you know, if something happens, so.
So that'll be further discussed at the community parent
Right.
meeting on August 10th, right? Just so that, I know a lot of people just want more definition attached to that community spread
Right.
piece of the, policy. And then just to be clear, district administrator equals superintendent. I mean, I'm just saying that for the record, because.
Most of the times.
I mean, don't do that, Mark. You know, I mean, I'm
It's the
just,
same.
some people
It's the same.
consider you superintendent, which you are, you're also the district administrator, I'm just saying they are one and the same,
Yeah.
okay? In paragraph, including the paragraph that was added, 1, 2, paragraph 3, in the last sentence, individuals with valid medical reasons for not wearing a face covering may be exempted from this requirement as determined by the district administrator.
And we had that in place this last year too.
Right, and I'm wondering, and just bear with me on this thought, I'm just wondering if we want to make that more in the hands of individual families and their doctors.
I think that's what a valid medical reason is.
Right, but that's saying it's
That's you.
determined by the district administrator.
Yeah, but that's typically, you know, it depends what kind of doctor you're going to, you know, I mean, we've had that before too, you know.
Yeah.
So, again,
What I'm trying to kind of get at here is that I just want to give families more choice if we can, if there's some way of doing that in here.
I think that'll come out in the parent meetings and that,
Okay.
and I fully expect that.
Okay.
And again, that's just a piece that has to play in.
And then for individual, again, with the same sentence, individuals with valid medical reasons for not wearing a face covering, would being, so now I'm talking in terms of staff really, or anybody, if they're vaccinated, is that a valid medical reason to not wear a face mask? I know that there are many staff members that are 85%, according to Ryan, that
Right.
were vaccinated. Is that, I mean, and that's a personal preference, I understand, but is that a medical reason to not have to wear one?
Well, right now, are you asking me, or are you just posing that question
It's
out there
like,
for
no, I'm just
discussion
putting, yes,
at our
I'm not,
group,
I'm
at
just
our
kind
group?
of putting questions out there that I have with this
Sure.
policy.
Yeah, just in general, right now, we're mask optional for vaccinated people, recommended for non-vaccinated. That's kind of the guidance we're going under right now.
Okay. Paragraph 7, if face masks coverings are required and no exception is applicable, students may be subject to disciplinary action, and the reason, and I'm just wondering if that one word will give teachers and principals a little grace in having to police masks, because I know that that was a huge issue at the end of the year. These are just things that I've thought about when I went through this. Food for thought.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we have a lot of discussion on it. Those are types of things that we want discussion on. And again, a lot of this is to find out what worked this last year, what didn't work, what people feel comfortable with. And again, establishing, you know, when do we pull the trigger on different things. And again, that's hard to say because we don't know, it's not here yet. And who knows?
The last paragraph on page 1, during times of elevated communicable disease, community spread as determined by the board in consultation with health professionals. I think that should be district administrator. Okay?
This has to do with transportation. It doesn't have to do with the rest.
but it's still determined by the board, which I thought we were basically, giving that responsibility back to the district administrator.
Right now, there's a federal mandate. So
Right.
that's why we didn't address it at that time. I see what you're saying, but that's why it wasn't addressed then, was because it wasn't an option.
Yeah, state and federal mandates will trump anything we're gonna do.
Okay. Let's see, all employee facial mask coverings shall meet the requirements of the appropriate dress staff grooming policy. 3216 and 4216, neither are on our website.
It's in the employee handbook. So
Okay.
we can get policies to go with it, but currently it's in the employee handbook.
Okay, should that,
Was student handbook though, shouldn't?
No, this is employees. That paragraph is specifically for employees.
okay. And is that normal to have it in the staff handbook, but not out for the public to look at? I'm just posing a question.
Yeah, there are policies available for much of what is in the employee handbooks, but we don't have every policy available. We haven't taken, just because there's so many,
Mm-hmm.
we can certainly add these policies, but right now, they're addressed in the employee handbook, but we can sure take a look at them.
Is the employee handbook public?
Is it public? I think it's in the employee portal. I don't think it's public. Do you know, Shannon or Abby? Tasia, do
I
you
didn't
know?
hear you say
It's
that.
not public at this time, it hasn't been historically. It's just on the employee portal.
I don't think anybody's handbooks are public, just a general rule.
What our policies are.
We might consider putting that on our, nothing urgent by any means, but just for clarification, if anyone was to read this policy and wanted to look at it,
Yep.
since it's referenced. And then I would also ask if this policy could be reviewed, I was thinking at least annually, maybe biannually.
I believe this is one of the policies in the group of medical policies that is required to be looked at annually.
Okay, very good, because this other policy we're looking at actually states annually, so I wanted to make sure that it was on that same, sort of schedule as far as looking at them. And then, okay. Well, I guess this segues well into this. So in that policy, it references 8420.01. We received a copy of that this week. And can you tell us who's on the EPRT team?
Yeah, Mark sent an email about that. Hang on just a second.
I saw Police Liaison John Farrell,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
John is, Dr. Ramsey is on there.
Our medical advisor.
Administrators.
And Ryan.
Mhm.
If you hang on just a second, I can pull that up for you, Roxanne.
I did
Mark
not
might
see
have just
that.
sent it to me.
Okay.
Can I get it to you later?
Yeah, no, I wrote down for now.
All right, thank you.
And then, I appreciate, Mark, that you were willing to take on this huge responsibility. You guys did a great job, you and the rest of the team, keeping us open last year. And that's a big reason why I definitely voted yes to that second motion last week, is I really do trust you guys to do a great job at it. But I do wanna know, do the principals feel okay with this responsibility too? I just wanna make sure. I voted in favor of it, but I also wished I had asked how they felt about it too.
So would you like that information sent to you in an email perhaps?
Sure. I guess I just wanna say that I know it's a huge,
And again, we talked quite a bit about it at our retreat and that, and, my words to them were, it'll fall on my shoulders if there's any problems. I need them for, the team of, part of the team here. And I don't know, Shannon, if you wanna speak to it, I didn't sense any fear.
No, I would say, I think we're thankful that we will have a higher level of input due to the fact that we are watching this on a day-to-day, minute-by-minute basis. And have the ability of just being able to see some of that real-time change that happens, which we saw last year happen literally on a daily basis. And so I think part of our conversation last week was just knowing that, we will need to have just some increased frequency as we start the school year regarding our conversations and our communication of what's happening in each building, what's happening across the campus. So, no, I wouldn't say there's fear. I think it's just, we know more now than we did a year ago, which is good. I think we too are looking forward to the community meeting to hear additional input from our stakeholders and families and parents and kind of where they're at with things. And I think we have a lot to offer too in terms of, like I said, what we just saw on a daily basis happen in each building and develop our plan and go from there.
Okay. Good, thank you, Shannon. And, okay, so, again, back to this 842001, that references the EPRT team. Do we have an environmental health and safety program, policy 8405? I know that this mentions, the EPRT may work as part of or in coordination with an environmental safety committee.
Is that letter L on that sheet?
No, it's in the first paragraph, and then it references policy 8405 as the environmental health and safety program. I didn't see one on our website, so I'm just wondering if is it necessary to be in this? I don't know. These are just suggestions for fine tuning these.
Well, there's the two out of that long list that we didn't
Yes.
check, and I think that was one of them because
The
we
policy you're
didn't know.
referencing, Roxanne, I'm sorry, I don't remember the number. Can you tell me?
Yeah, 8420.01.
20.01 will be on the August meeting, the work session for first reading, and then it'll come to the August regular session for approval. So it's not approved at this time. That work hasn't been done yet. So some of the things you're asking about, we still have to do.
Okay, very good. So then I think as far as 5C, recommending the school board approve this policy, I don't think we can today if we don't have this policy that's referenced in it fine-tuned.
Yeah, we can.
Do that all the time. But for this particular situation, that's very,
The only problem is if we don't approve this, then it stays in the board's hands. It doesn't go to the administrators.
And the old policy stays in effect.
So that's the problem. If we don't approve it, then it stays with us and not to the administrators by that August date that they want to meet.
We can always amend it.
but the only way we can, well, yes, I guess we can amend it as long as it's voted such that it can be brought back, right? I mean, there's a chance that it might not get voted on to where we can bring it back. That's my concern.
Would we bring it back when we're looking at 8420.01?
We wouldn't have to.
Huh?
We wouldn't have to, because 8420.01 is already in it. So once we approve 8420.01, it's already there.
And then if they don't mesh up, we can always bring it back if needed. Brought back. Remember the credit card policy? How many times that got brought back?
See what you did there. So you want to pull Roxanne?
I don't know, I mean, I don't know how to do this, I guess I'm asking fellow board members here. How are we able to proceed with the administrators having this, ability to work with masks optional when it's just, seems like there's work to be done on both policies yet. Because this 8420.01 made me ask a lot of questions on it.
This is a brand new policy, even this one we had not seen before.
And so a lot of this language is just your standard boilerplate language that has been developed by Neola. So I don't know how many other districts are going through this stuff now, but I think, in my opinion, you want to pass it. And keep that language in there. It's not doing anything because we don't have an 8420 passed yet. But, you know, hopefully we'll work through everything in August. And when you were talking about your kind of input into the 8450, the one that we're looking at tonight, it wasn't clear to me, were you making a motion or just discussion?
Just discussion.
Yeah. So how about if we do this? Let's think about this. We can pass this tonight, if it's okay with you, and then bring it back with suggested changes along with 8420.01 in August. You know,
Okay
so
with
that they
that.
come back together.
Yep.
But it'll be planned, so it won't be like we're just bringing them back for the fun of it.
I like that. I'll do that.
Pass it as a working document.
Yeah.
And I did shoot you all out the names of that team.
Yes, oh,
Yeah.
and I forwarded it as well.
So,
All right, so there's a motion on the table. It was made by, Tasia, who made the motion?
Oh, let's see.
I think
Yeah, Bruce and second by Marge.
Okay, made by Bruce, second by Marge. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. The next item on the agenda then is, there's two of them that kind of go together. Recommend school board approve the purchase of food as presented. This has to do with the new staff orientation that Jody is planning with the Chamber of Commerce. And the school board approved the purchase of food as presented. It has to do with the building leadership team that is being brought together in, I don't know if the date is in
It was in
there.
October, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was.
No, it's before school starts,
Yeah, it's August 27th or so.
August 17th.
Oh, it's close.
Thank you.
I make a motion to approve 5D and E.
All right, thank you, Patty Jo, and is there a second?
Second.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Katie. So we have a motion by Patty Jo and a second by Katie. Is there any discussion on these two items?
I would love to see this become more robust. I know like the New Richmond Chamber puts together a full day, works with the chamber, businesses, so I would love to help coordinate and be a part of making this be a great welcome for our new staff.
That's why Jody
Yeah.
brought it forward, because they do it in River Falls as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to reach out to somebody to talk about it, Jody would be your person. All right, any further discussion? All in favor then?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda, we have minutes, board bills, personnel updates. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve A 1 and 2, B 1, C 1, 2, and 3.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Katie. Any questions or discussion about any of these items?
I just want to point out that we have a lot of volunteer coaches, and that's pretty incredible. And I thank all coaches and thank the volunteers as well.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The August meeting dates are the 9th and the 23rd. Once around the table, Marge, did you have anything?
I just wondered if you checked into that parent survey for the flex schedule. There was too many other things going
I know,
on.
there has been, but that young lady has surveyed the heck out of people, and I don't know.
So next month at the work session, I'm giving an update on the schedule, and I'm happy to address that part.
But that would be just, you mean, address this,
What you're bringing up about about the parent survey.
The survey?
Mhm.
Okay, because I was thinking you were doing it at the meeting, meeting next month for the COVID stuff and everything, and I thought there weren't all the parents there, so. But no, I see what you're talking about.
All right, anything else, Marge?
No.
All right, Katie?
No, I'm good.
Bruce? Sheree?
School perceptions, when are we gonna get that scheduled? It's been out for 7 weeks since we
We're
first
working
addressed
on,
it.
or setting a date for that, and with Bob to facilitate it.
Either a work session or a special session, or a retreat, that's what you guys have to decide.
So can we get a couple dates on that before our next?
I can try to email something out. We're gonna have to coordinate with WASB and some other people, so we'll see what we can do. Anything else?
Yes, gym floor looks incredible, can't wait for that tour. Beautiful.
Yeah, Trent sent some pictures. That was very nice. Roxanne?
I just had somebody ask me about if there's any more consideration about moving to our meetings to a bigger room with microphones.
We will have our auditorium back, or the best place to do this is at the elementary school, and we'll have it back now after the first week of August. So, you know, the idea, that was the idea back here, we could have double, tripled our space. And we possibly still can do it depending on how these projects come out. They're still, you know, we're squeezing the pennies out of it, and if we can get enough to do that. Otherwise, you're gonna have to go to one of the buildings. But again, ideally, the elementary school's been the best for us.
Okay.
The old media center at the high school worked, but not now.
Patty Jo?
I had a student bring me a concern about AP credits. I guess rumor in the AP world is that they're not gonna have be counted. And they're afraid, a lot of the kids taking AP credits are afraid that they're no longer gonna be AP classes. I'm not my kids.
Like no longer AP classes at the high school?
Yeah, and that they will no longer have those classes offered to them. So something needs to be
Go on
sent out
record to
those.
say that's not even on the radar.
All right.
I'm happy to talk to them. There's a student concern
I'll
too,
talk to you
send it to
after
me.
that.
I'm wondering if they got mixed up because at one of our last
The weighted.
meetings, we were talking about the weighted credit.
Sure.
So that could be
AP
what
classes
that-
are a full go. Actually, we just added a new one this year.
Okay, so that is a good thing then, and then, to get back at Alice's spot, I've heard a lot of complaints about racism in our school this summer from students and parents. And so I do think it's something that we need to address. I mean, we addressed it last year, but, to the point that kids aren't going, when we had the flex lab, they weren't not going because of COVID, they were not going due to the racism and the anti-LGBTQ environment for the students. And I heard it directly from multiple students this summer, so it is something that I've heard it and.
So one thing that with that page, Joe, and I'll say it here so people can hear this, is that they gotta get a hold of us and tell us.
Totally,
You know,
yep.
we can't deal with it if we don't know about it. So just encourage people to call so we can.
What I've been doing.
All right, then, I will make a motion to adjourn into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85, paren 1, paren F. The board will go into closed session for preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems or the investigation of charges against specific persons, which if discussed in public would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such problems or investigation. Would someone second?
Second.
Thank you, Katie. All in favor?
Aye.
Lori, can you do a roll call vote for that?
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Thanks.
Patty Jo?
Yes.
Roxanne? Here. I'm gonna take that as a yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Sheree?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Bruce?
Yes.
Myself, yes, and Katie?
Yes.
And Mark?
Yes.
Thank you.